Hello everyone. There have been numerous comedians that have died way too soon. Many of them share the trait of having a subversive comedic edge to them. Comedians such as Lenny Bruce, Andy Kaufman, Sam Kinison, and Mitch Hedberg fit this description perfectly. There is one comedian that fits this description who's had an enormous impact on comedy. That comedian is the late great Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was an American stand-up comedian and satirist. His full name is William Melvin Hicks. He was born on December 16th, 1961, in Valdosta, Georgia, U.S. His influences are Lenny Bruce, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Woody Allen, Sam Kinison, Johnny Carson, Peter Cook, Mort Saul, Robert Benchley, S.J. Perlman, Jimi Hendrix, Terence McKenna, and Noam Chomsky. He is well known for discussing politics, religion, and philosophy through an observational, dark, and satirical comedic lens. In 1978, at the age of 16, Hicks started to perform comedy at the Comedy Workshop in Houston, Texas. Shortly after graduating from high school, Hicks would move to Los Angeles to pursue comedy, where he would become a regular at the Comedy Store. In 1983, he would move back to Houston. In the 1980s, he would become a part of a group of comedians called the Texas Outlaw Comics at the Comedy Workshop. The whole ethos of these comedians were all about being original, themselves, and above all else, being funny. According to Hicks, the group was spearheaded by the late great Sam Kinison due to his hilarious, edgy style of comedy and his rebellious attitude. Besides Hicks and Kinison, members of this group include Ron Schock, Steve Epstein, Carl LaBove, John S., Riley Barber, Dan Merriman, John Frenetti, Jimmy Pineapple, Andy Huggins, and Stephen Giuliano Moore. Hicks would become the king of this group of comics. He would then start performing comedy on the road that was mostly in the South. For some time, he was Jay Leno's opening act. On December 5th, 1984, just 11 days before his 23rd birthday, Hicks would make his television debut on Late Night with David Letterman. In 1988, Hicks would move to New York City and get an upturn in his career when he appeared on Rodney Dangerfield's Young Comedian Special. After that, for the next 5 years, he would perform 300 times a year. In 1989, Hicks would release his first stand-up video performance titled Sane Man. Around the late 80s, the style of comedy that he would be known for would start coming out, and he would fully embrace it once the 90s kicked off. It's quite appropriate that Hicks would go towards a more cynical and dark route with his comedy when the 90s came, because this is when edgy and weird entertainment started to become cool. In 1990, Hicks would release his first album titled Dangerous. In the same year, he would perform at Montreal's Just for Laughs festival. In 1991, he would perform on HBO's One Night Stand and would return to perform at the Just for Laughs festival. In the same year, he would become a huge hit in the UK and Ireland while touring both countries. In 1992, Hicks would release his second album / stand-up video performance titled Relentless. In the same year, he released a stand-up video performance titled Revelations. In 1993, he would tour Australia. On October 1st of that year, Hicks would appear on Late Show with David Letterman. It was his 12th appearance on a Letterman late night show. His entire performance would be removed from broadcast, however, due to the fact that it contained jokes about religion and the anti-abortion movement that the producers felt were unsuitable for broadcast. Sorry about that. Nearly 5 months later, on February 26, 1994, in Little Rock, Arkansas, Hicks would die from pancreatic cancer at the young age of 32. On January 30th, 2009, David Letterman invited Mary Hicks, Bill Hicks' mother, onto his show to publicly apologize to her for allowing her son's performance to be removed and to show the performance in its entirety. After showing Hicks' performance, Letterman would say, "It says more about me as a guy than it says about Bill because there was absolutely nothing wrong with that." Letterman is such a class act for doing that, and a class act all around. Shows how great of a guy he is, but I digress. It's a shame that Hicks died at such a young age. From the late 80s until his death, his career kept getting bigger and bigger. There's no way of knowing how big his career would have gotten. Despite all this, Hicks would leave a huge impact on stand-up comedy, mostly through his posthumous album releases. He has influenced many comedians, including myself. For that, I am very grateful. Well, that's all I have to say about the late great Bill Hicks. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you liked it and want more like it, then subscribe to my channel, like, and share this video. I'm Vaughn Wesley, and have a good one. Bye.